Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Welcome to Friday Night Sport with Dhakir Dawood. Obviously, there's not the voice and the face of Dhakir as you'd expect every Friday. My name is Salailo, usually behind the mic, behind the screen, producing the content for the show. But Dhakir is out in Cape Town today. He's covering the Springbok Sevens, having a ball of a time if you check his Instagram feed. So I'll be holding the fort here. I'll be with you from 7 right till 8, giving you the jam-packed show as we do every Friday, discussing the best of local and international sport. And as usual, we're going to start with some local football. Football journalist Mpho Mutloane is going to be joining me in a short bit, and we will be talking about the PSL. A lot has happened in the past week. We'll also be throwing forward to the weekend that's coming up. Interesting conversations. First coach in the PSL has fallen to the sword. We'll be chatting briefly about that also. I'll be chatting to some of the games that are happening and the games that will be happening this upcoming weekend. But what I'm excited for is to be chatting to Zeka Marks. I'm not sure if you remember him, the former Morocco Swallows coach. Also had a stint with Black Leopards in the 2012-2013 season. He'll be chatting to me about where is he. He's been out of the picture for some time. What is he doing? And how was coaching, for him? He coached a very successful Morocco Swallows team that won a title, the MTN 8. I think they've also won the Nedbank Cup, if I'm not mistaken. But how was it? And also working with a brilliant squad, that included what mostly would call, rejects of the PSL. You remember the likes of Terminator were there. He had the likes of Lefatu Tsurupa in the squad. He had Lerato Shabang in the squad also. And they did wonders. Bene Chinene, not forgetting him. So I'll be chatting to him. He's going to be letting me into his world and what he's currently busy with. So yeah, that's going to be the show. I'm excited to be hosting today, and I'm great. I'm really excited to be to have you in my company. For any interactions, you can give us a call 01088802396. Particularly, I'm interested to hear from Liverpool fans. How are they feeling after that midweek drubbing in the Champions League? And the Manchester United fans also, they hadn't had a good start to their Europa League campaign, which a certain Cristiano Ronaldo was at everyone's lips because he was playing his first Europa League. But for now, I'll be chatting to Mpho. We'll be speaking all things local football. I'm not sure if he's on the line. I think he is. Hi, Mpho. I'm great. I can't seem to be hearing you. I'm not sure if it's okay. So whilst we're trying to fix Mpho's audio, I'll be just checking out some of the fixtures for you, because we know the English Premier League is currently suspended due to the death of the Queen. So you have nothing except the PSL to be watching this weekend. Have we fixed Mpho's sound? Okay, so whilst we're getting we're getting in touch with Mpho, and when we try to fix his sound, I'll be taking you through some of the fixtures. Well, as I'm speaking to you right now, there's actually a game that's going to be taking place in about 30 minutes. Maritzburg United are playing Super Sport. So yeah, that's another fixture to look forward to. If you're not a fan of that, there's obviously that big match on Saturday. My team, the Buccaneers, Orlando Pirates, are playing TS Galaxy, which I think is going to be a really interesting match if you've been following the proceedings of last season, with a certain Tim Sugazi accusing Pirates management of manhandling him and all of that. But yeah, we're gonna get into that. Brampo, how's it? I can hear you loud and
Yes,
clear
yes, I
now.
can hear you too. Just needed a bit
uh,
of a refresh.
all right, great, brilliant. Before we go any further, I'm thinking let's just get into it. Chupa United. It has happened again. We're all hoping, holding thumbs that don't happen. We even had Dane Clate come on the show.
Oh,
When he was first appointed as Chupa United coach, was about how excited he is, to
mm.
finally be a coach. But after 7 games, he's gone. Your thoughts?
It's expected from cheaper. Just a little bit disappointed, largely because of what Dane Cate has done for his club. He was the MDC, Multi-Choice Diski Challenge coach, and he took that. He did really well with that team. Took them deep into the tournament over the past few seasons. He's learned his trade at that level, and you thought a homegrown talent like him would be given a lot longer to try and make things work. I thought he played pretty okay-ish. I think the game against Kaizer Chiefs was really nice to watch. Obviously, they weren't getting results against the teams that they need to get results against, but I thought it was teething problems. The only issue with Chippa Mpengesi is that he does not have patience. He's never had patience. He wants to make sure, and look, he's kept himself up in the league for this long, changing coaches. So this is something he knows, and so he's going to go to that to try and make sure that he doesn't fall behind. And I think that's his worry, is that you give a coach time and it's too late to change the coach because you're so far behind. And I think for me, that was the thing. It's a little bit too early for me, but knowing Chippa Mpengesi, I think he knew when to pull the trigger and he understands what he needs to do. The question is who's going to come in. I'm just sad for Dane Clay because now he doesn't have a club. What does he do now? And I really do hope that one of the bigger clubs can bring him on and help him get his badges, help him stay in the game rather than be out of the game, because that's what being fired essentially does. You're no longer learning, you're no longer in the thick of things. I'd even have preferred if he went down to the MDC team, because I think it's something that he needs to get away from, but he's in and around the game.
Yeah, but Dane Slade, would you say he was particularly ready, to be a coach in the pinnacle of South African football? Never mind coaching a team like Chippa United, where we know that Chippa Mpengesi wants results and he wants them now. But do you feel like he was ready, or it was a bit too soon? Because we all know the PSL is one of the hardest leagues in the world, and it's not for the faint-hearted.
Look, I think he was ready. I think there's a group of young former players who are coming in through the coaching ranks, and they need their chances. You can't have guys stuck at MDC for as long as for too long. And I think he was ready. I thought Chippa was the right club because the great thing about him was that Chippa Mpengesi knew him and trusted him. So you thought he'd be the one that Chippa would try and build some sort of a foundation with and a legacy with. Yes, it didn't work out. And these things don't tend to not work out. But if you look at the squad that he had to make do with guys who were coming from the MDC. And the step up to the PSL is a lot. So you can say that maybe his coaching wasn't great. But also the players that he had probably weren't at that level that to take that step up, because he took a lot of players from that MDC side and he brought them back in, and they had some success, the game against Kaizer Chiefs being one of them. But outside of that, it's been tough, and I think
he even beat Pirates. So sorry to interject there.
Yes,
I think it was
Pirates.
it was Pirates. It was a big scalp.
Yes,
Yeah. It was Pirates, and I think
sorry,
yeah, maybe we can take it back to the game against Sundowns. I'm not sure if do you feel like that game was the one that sealed his fate. Was if he probably gotten the results against Sundowns, would he be maybe speaking a different story?
Look, that's the reason why this thing is why it's so harsh, because 10 days before he beat Pirates at Orlando. So that should have been enough to give him a couple of weeks. But I think Chippa Mpengesi probably had kind of realized, because sometimes when you know. And I think even with the coaching moves in England, with like Thomas Tuchel being fired so early when Chelsea is like in the top 6, you kind of realize that when you watch as a chairman your team, whether they're playing the football you want them to play, and whether you're going to be either fighting relegation or you're going to. And Chip has done this multiple times, so he knows what this is. And that Mamelodi Sundowns game was great because they defended really well. But sometimes, and the thing about Sundowns is that Sundowns, you could think that they are beating themselves this season rather than actually their opponents beating them. I kind of find them to be a little bit, to kind of be a little bit in that zone of, for the past 5 seasons, no one's touched us. So I
want us to just quickly, before we run out of time, just quick jump onto Sundowns. I've been just looking at their results, and in all honesty, they remind me a bit of Liverpool. You know, they don't seem to be themselves. Yes, Sundowns, they are winning games, but they seem to be grinding out results. You know, it doesn't look like the Sundowns of old. Do you think they did a bit too much in the transfer window, where there's almost an overhaul, and that squad that, you know, it's a core. You know, we see the likes of Zwane now starting on the bench. You know, we see the likes of Nasir and all the other new players making the first team. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, thinking maybe they might have lost that Sundowns base that we've known, and that has been, you know, throwing teams out of the water for so long.
But that comes with refreshing the squad,
Mm,
and also the way teams are playing you right now. Sundowns, if you're not playing a big team like Kaizer Chiefs or Orlando Pirates, Sundowns always will get a low block. It's happened with
mm,
Manchester City. I think the season before last, where they started so badly in the season, we thought what was going on. They were grinding out results. It wasn't looking pretty. They were struggling to find a rhythm, and I think that's what Sundowns it is right now. Is they're struggling to find a rhythm, but it's also a little bit of complacency from my end in terms of how the mentality coming into play. But when you have so
mm,
many players coming in, you're gonna have to find a new rhythm. It's never gonna be the same. And you was always, and the thing I like about Sundowns is they know that every season is different and they need to refresh and they need to improve. And they've done that every season. And so it's just for them to find a rhythm. The thing is, if you look at that game against Kaizer Chiefs, they were guns blazing. Why? Because Kaizer Chiefs went out and attacked them. If you're not going to
mm,
attack them, it's a lot harder to break teams down because teams will sit with 5, 6, 7 defenders in a box, and you can't break through. It's only in the games where um, it's only in the games where teams have actually been a little bit more expansive, where Sundowns have found a lot more joy in their ability to be able to play that shoe shine and piano football. I watched the
mm,
game against Sekhukhune United where they drew, and what happened was that, and this is where they will find themselves in trouble, and this is why they've ended up losing games, is that teams will catch them on the counter. Teams will catch them on the counter and they'll play. But against Supersport last week Friday, Supersport played a really great possession game. They actually held the ball away from Sundowns, and they actually punished them. And they took their chances, and that's what's going to happen this season. Is that as they try to find the rhythm, you're going to get games where you will be off the ball here and there, and that's what they're
mm.
finding this season.
They are playing a Golden Arrow side that has been, you know, pretty. I don't say consistent, but they've been really decent. You know, they're 10th on the log in the last 5 games. They played two, they drew two, lost one. They also have like a particularly young coaching squad. They have Vusi Vilagazi and Maputi
Mm.
Kenyeza coaching there. Another, you know, pairing of South African coaches who I think they've fed, you know, really well
Mm.
considering still early days. How do you see them, you know, going against this Sundowns team, which I think after the game with Chippa United are going to be, I don't know, a bit more aggressive because, you know, they scored in the last minute. You know, everyone thought, you know, Sundowns, are they beatable? Can you defend against them? Would they be going at this game with maybe trying to prove a point that, you know, we are still the Sundowns of old. We are the defending champions, and you know, the big questions are being asked, and a big team needs to give answers to those questions.
No, so I think Sundowns plays like as a team know that they will score a goal. It's
Mm,
one of those situations where you know that they're going to score a goal. They just need to go through their processes and go through what they know and everything else. And if they can stick to that, they'll win most games. Even if teams are playing a low block and are hard to score against, you just need to trust your processes. Recycle the ball, move the ball around. If the ball moves, the man will move. It's just a simple thing about football, and that's how Sundowns play their football. They need space. If they don't have the space, they need to create the space. That's why they'll play through the back. They'll do all these things. So if they trust their processes, they'll be fine. The only issue, obviously, is Golden Arrows. Golden Arrows are a well-structured team, well-drilled. They've
yeah.
always been well-drilled, even in the Cabo Zondo days. They've been that, and so you're gonna come up against a team that's pretty physical. Their strikers are very quick. And it's going to be a test for Brian Onyango at centre back with Rushin Durek to see how they handle Pule Modi and what is it? His strike partner, whose name just escapes me, was at the
Yeah.
top of my tongue. But so for me, that's what it is. But Sundowns need to trust the way they play. They will create chances. It's just converting chances, and I think that's what they're trying to figure out now. as to how they're going to do this thing and remind themselves that they've done it. But it's not about panicking. It's about being able to trust that even at the 90th minute, I'll still be able to score a goal. And a team like that is so dangerous. It's very dangerous because you don't know when it's going to come. And you, as that golden arrows, you're going to be sitting there defending with your heart out, hoping that that goal never comes. But you know in the back of your mind that it will. And when it does, it could bring a second very quickly. And so it's just that mentality that Sundowns has. And they just need to keep to know that once I get one in, the rest will follow.
Okay, there's another game happening. The game I alluded to earlier. Fifth and sixth in the log, Orlando Pirates and TS Galaxy. Pirates obviously number 5. Last 5 games they've been, also blowing a bit of hot and cold there. Last 5 games, they lost 2, won 2. Drew 1, been creating a lot of chances with no luck. And then you have a TS Galaxy side, which, in my opinion, they're playing, one of the most beautiful football in the league. They're putting the ball on the ground, playing it around. But how do you see that happening? Obviously, with that, it's going to be charged. We know what happened last season, Team Sugazi and all the drama that happened. An exciting one.
Look, I think Pirates need to be afraid of this fixture, actually. I think Pirates' biggest problem is up front. I don't see where goals are coming from, and it's been the same issue for the past.
How they made signings, Musu. We made big signings. Brought in Evan Gar. Lopasa is back from injury.
I mean, Evan Gar came from Chippa United. Evan Gar came from Chippa United.
Scored 8 goals last season.
8 goals is not enough for you as a London Pirates. You need someone who's going to give you 12 to 15 goals a season. And they haven't been able to find that. And I think one of the issues, it's coming up right now, because if a guy's giving 8 goals a season, it means he's scoring once every 4 games. We've got 30 games, we've got 30 games in the league. So he's scoring once every 4-5 games. And so that's not enough for Pirates. You need someone who's going to score every other game. And I think that's one of the issues that they have. Also, I think they're still trying to get used to Jose Rivera's style of football, which is fine, and that's okay, and it needs time. He's a good. So on balance of paper, I think Pirates should win, but they need to be very careful of this TS Galaxy side because of the fact that they can't score goals up front. They'll create chances till the cows come home, but they don't have that goal poacher. Samir Nurkovic left and went to Royal AM. Andre de Jong's at Royal AM. You should have gone for him. Victor Letswalo going to Sekhukhune United. That's a guy you could have gone. He's scored 15 goals. He's got in the resume, and that's the type of recruiting you need to do as Orlando Pirates in order for you to be able to challenge against Mamelodi Sundowns. And that's why it's going to be 5th versus 6th, and I do think it might end up being a draw. But I'll never know with the Orlando Pirates, because somehow Orlando Pirates can squeak something out of it when they can. Zakele Lebasa is not having the greatest season that we've expected. And I think ever since he scored against Kaizer Chiefs in that cup final, it's for 4.
Nedbank Cup. Nedbank Cup. Is he? Do you think he might have an impact? Certain Tajik there, playing against his former side. He wants to compete, obviously, because of Evan Gar's introduction. You have an Evidence Mahopa also is out injured, so that number 9 position is out for the taking. Someone needs to raise their hand and say, you know what, I can be the traditional striker for the club. I can score the goals. You don't think he might see this game as maybe an opportunity for him to cement his place and be the preferred striker for the Buccaneers?
Well, he needs to. I think the luck that he had, or the goodwill that he had with the fans has now gone out completely, and he needs to do something to bring it back. He's an exciting talent. It's just it hasn't worked out, and that's the disappointing thing. And so he needs to try and get himself back in the good books of the Pirates faithful. I look, it's not all she wrote. I don't like writing off players, but he really does need to step up. And the problem, and Jose Rivera is going to figure it out very soon, and I hope in January he fixes it. It's up front. It's Pirates have a really good midfield. They keep on finding good midfielders, keep on finding good defenders. They just can't score. It's a goals thing, and if you can only score 1 goal, you always find yourself in trouble of conceding.
Yeah. I want us to maybe with the few minutes that we have left, jump into the midweek Champions League. Some shocking results there. Liverpool fans, I'm sure they're not comfortable. They are not sitting pretty.
Mhm.
What's happening with Liverpool? Do you think it's the same issue with? I mean, post match, I was listening to Jurgen Klopp. He was
Mm.
talking about they need to reinvent themselves, and I think that I don't know. It kind of like was a shocking statement, but in another way, it made sense because teams seem to have figured them out. Do you think Liverpool is still the same Liverpool of old, or something needs to be done? Are the alarm bells starting to ring? Are there problems at Anfield?
The alarm bell should have been ringing the moment that the moment they came into the start of the season in August, at the end of August, largely because
Mm,
they didn't do a lot of business in the transfer market. Liverpool always like trying to find the perfect player, this Liverpool
mm,
type player. They're like, if our player out there is in the market, then it is. They let go of Sadio Mane. They brought in Darwin Núñez. They brought in Luis Diaz, but they didn't actually address one of the key issues that they have is that in that central midfield position, they're made of glass. The players are
mm.
perfect for them, but they're all made of glass. Naby Keita's injured. Thiago's injured.
Yeah.
Fabinho was injured at the start of the season. So there's no continuity, there's no rhythm. And they're getting found out because the guys who were papering over a lot of the mistakes are making the mistakes themselves. Virgil
Mm.
van Dijk now looks like he's over the hill, just like that. Joe Gomez
Gomez had
looks
a
like
nightmare. He had a nightmare of a
no,
game.
but
Nightmare of
no,
a
but
game
let's
against
look at
Napoli.
let's look at how Liverpool play. Liverpool defend using pace. That's why they're
Mm,
comfortable playing the high line because they know that all their defenders can come back and they can just beat whoever it is in a foot race. And that's how they do it. Even that's why Trent Alexander-Arnold's not great defensively, nor is Robertson going back.
yeah.
But what they do is that they know they've got the pace to get in and put the bodies around there. And then when they do, and if they lose possession, because they play a high line and they make the field small, their center midfielder will always pick up the balls. It's an N'Golo Kante role for Thiago Silva and Fabinho, but those guys are not there. They're not necessarily having the greatest of seasons, and they're being found out. Mo Salah is also not scoring, not
Mm,
in the finest of touches. They let go of Sadio Mane, who somehow think they've realized that he was the engine. The great thing for them is that Diogo Jota is coming back, and I do think there's a place for Jota in this team in order
mm,
to kind of give them the same spark that Mane had, because I think that's the one thing that they can come back with. But it's a reinvention, yes, because everybody else knows what they've been doing, and now they're playing to their strengths. They're putting the ball in the corners. They're beating them in foot races. They're putting Trent and Robertson in uncomfortable positions, and when they do
mm.
that, your centre backs just don't know what to do. Virgil van Dijk's made a living by not tackling. He doesn't engage. No, he's a great position marker.
Yeah.
He marks the position. He marks. He's a zonal marker essentially. He'll header the ball out. He won't get in. He knows he's quicker than everybody, most of the strikers. So he'll just get in there to poke the ball away. But he'll never be engaged. When you engage him, then Liverpool are a different kettle of fish. And I think the other thing is obviously Joe Gomez is next to him instead of Joel Matip, and that relationship is still pretty new. So they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble. But I do think if there's a team that might not make the Champions League spots this season, it is Liverpool, because everyone else
Whoa.
is moving forward, but they've stayed the
Whoa.
same.
I also think that's a bit of a bold statement. Eh? Uh,
No, but look at it. Everyone's moved forward. They've come back.
mm,
And Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund, it was year 7 where everything looked really weird and didn't work, didn't look like it was working. This is year 7 with him at Liverpool, and it's not looking that great. So it's going to be a lot of bumps along the road, but
mhm.
they really need to get Darwin Núñez up and running as quickly as possible because he can help them out. Because if you can score more goals than your opposition, you can always win, even though you're conceding a whole bunch.
Manchester City, is this the year? Is Erling
It
Haaland
has to
the
be.
missing puzzle
It has to be.
the missing puzzle in this
My
jigsaw
man, it
of
has to be. It has to be. They're the best team in Europe by a
yeah.
landslide. They're better than anybody in Europe. And the only team that could probably give them a run for their money is probably Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Mhm.
Lewandowski just makes Barcelona a very interesting, intriguing prospect. But Manchester City, pound for pound, best team in Europe. They should take it away, especially now with Erling Haaland, because Haaland is the world's he is fighting Lewandowski to be the world's best striker, and I think Haaland this season is winning.
No, it's going to be a very interesting season. I know it's early days. Champions League has already showed us the glimpses of what could be. But thank you so much for giving me your time. You probably have load shedding waiting for you. Uh, but yeah, until next time, thank you so much for giving us your time and your expert analysis. Uh, cheers. Enjoy your
Thanks,
weekend,
Alana.
and
Have a
let's
good
watch
weekend,
football.
man. Sure, you
Cheers,
too.
man.
Bye.
That was Mpho Mutloane giving really bold statements there. One of them is Liverpool not making it out of the group stages. That's that could be amazing. That could be bewildering. Considering that they've been playing so well in the previous Champions Leagues, finalists almost two times under Jurgen Klopp. But we don't know. We'll see as the season unfolds. Unfortunately, there won't be any English Premier League games as announced this weekend because of Her Majesty the Queen of England passing away. So the only source of our entertainment this weekend will be our local football. So be sure not to miss any of the fixtures that me and Mpho spoke about. But for now, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, an interesting interview, one I'm not sure that you'd want to miss. I will be chatting to former Morocco Swallows and Black Leopards coach Zerka Marks. If you know him, you probably remember him for his trademark taking off the jacket celebration. A very passionate coach. He'll be chatting to us briefly about what he's currently doing and how was it coaching at the pinnacle of South African football, coaching in the Premier Soccer League, and why hasn't he gotten back? I'm sure there are teams that could have given him offers, but he chose to do other things that we'll find out after the break what they are.